In case you are not here for the Data Innovation Summit, then you are in the wrong room. You can stay, but the idea is that this is a summit about data innovation and digital transformation. Let me please introduce you to your host of the day. Nele Koger will be handling this because this is a Women in Tech event, so I'm not supposed to talk. So I'll pass on the microphone to Nele, who will then introduce our first speaker, which is Saskia.
Thank you, Philip. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second edition of the Data Innovation Summit. And I have the pleasure to introduce you to our first speaker of today, who is a real female role model. She's the CEO of Ericsson. It's Saskia Van Uffelen, and she has over 25 years of experience in the ICT industry. And she will talk about how the digital world is transforming everything and everybody. The floor is yours, Saskia.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome this morning, and I'll try to kick off your day with a little bit of energy, talking about digital disruption. I've got 12 minutes and a half, so I will immediately go to the heart of the presentation. First, when we talk about digital, we have to realize, and seeing the average age of the people in the room, I always have to explain what digital really means. Because most of the people do not understand if I say we need to go to digital skills, we need to go to digital to avoid the digital divide. Today we have an economy of rich people and poor people. Tomorrow we will have a people who are being part of the digital world and those who aren't. And when I'm talking about digital, I do not mean technical knowledge about smartphones and PCs and service. That's not what I mean. So what does really digital mean? It's a little bit, and I'll try to explain it in the message. For those who are a little bit older like I am, we had the selection of the Pope in 2005. And we've done that over again in 2013. And this is what I call a digital transformation. If you see the 7 changes between the 2 pictures, and then it goes too fast. If you see the 7 changes in the 2 pictures, you see what is digital integration in real life. And it goes fast, because 2005, 2013 is only 8 years. Now, if you go back in history, that it took us, this is blank, this is next, between the green and red button, must work, yeah. It took us 100 years to get 1 billion places connected. My father was a medicine, the phone in the house was the place where the 5 kids were not allowed to play. It was the central world of the village. 100 years. It took us only 25 years to connect 5 billion people. Only 25 years. Today we have as much mobile subscribers as we have people in the world. This doesn't mean that everybody is connected, because some people have 1 or 2 subscriptions, but only 25 years. And it will only take us 15 years to connect 50 billion devices. And a device can be everything. It can be your glasses, it can be your kids, it can be your house, it can be your car, it can be your pacemaker, it can be whatever you can imagine. And this is the speed of digital transformation. It goes very fast. And if we do not take that opportunity, then we can never get the economy back on track. And besides that, something else is changing. If you see that a user today, we have communicated to you the hashtags for the social media. Every citizen thinks he's the best or she is the best journalist. That we have the right information. And we communicate. And the world of the media has changed overnight. You can choose between your electricity provider. So it is the consumer, it is the end user at the end who will decide what he or she will buy. And it's not like when I started in my career, we went into a hotel for boring meetings, off-site, very confidential, for 3 days to discuss the business plan of the products we would bring to the market in the coming 3 years. And then the customer was obliged to buy those products. Those times are over. In whatever you do, you have to realize that it is the customer who will decide if he buys, and what he will buy, and when he will buy, and in what kind of a service model. And it's not the companies anymore. So if you follow the trends, some good news, some other news. Ericsson communicates the trends on a yearly basis. Just imagine that the average age of a person will be 150 years. Good news is, if I'm 67 to take my pension, then I still have a while to go. Bad news is, nobody knows who will finance it. But 3D printing today is already part of our body. There was in VOCA and the TED today a test on if you are digital experienced, and one of the questions was, would you accept to put a chip in your body? Now, if we are very serious, guys, today we already do it. Because what is the difference between a chip and a pacemaker? It's but smaller, but it gives also indications of what is happening with our body and those kind of things. So it's not about science fiction. The trends say that at the end of this year, the smartphone will not be the basic screen anymore. Today, the first screen where we look on is our smartphone. So even that changes with the speed of light. And that's what we need to take into account. I will never learn it. So if we do not dare to think disruptive, and disruptive means also cross-sector. Today I'm invited to a finance event, and then to a retail event, and then to a mobility event, and then to an ICT event, because that's a very special sector separately, and then. Competition will not be sectorized anymore. Solutions will not go into the competition of the bank of today, will maybe be the retailer of tomorrow. Or the retailer today will be the bank of tomorrow. So it's not only a question of technology. It's not only a question of do I dare to be a nerd and to think and to make whatever solutions. It's also a way of life and accepting that it's different. And it goes very fast. Why was Uber that annoying in Brussels? Because nobody thought that we could outsource a taxi driver. Everybody said the profession of a taxi driver will always exist. Well, suddenly it wasn't there anymore. And we have that in every sector. Today we are still, the automobile sector is selling cars. And the more cars you sell, the more successful you are. Guess what? We will buy less cars. So if those cars vendors do not reinvent themselves, and like Volvo, for example, I take that example being working for a Swedish company, it's obvious, the Volvo cloud can already detect today what the circumstances is. If there is too much rain or whatever, that will informed in the mobility cloud. By the way, the Volvo can already drive without a driver. Problem is only that our roads in our cities are not necessarily adapted in order to support them. But even better, if we want to create safer roads, we have the helmet where you see LED lights. Those LED lights turn red if there is danger coming up for the bicycle. At the same time, the car is informed that there is a bicycle, so he's slowing down. So we can make great solutions based on information that will be collected. And the question is not, is it bad? The question is, how can we help the world in a sustainable way in using that information? How can we also help the economy going back on track? Belgium is a country of knowledge, not of production anymore. So if we really want to change our economy back upwards, then we need to take that opportunity. Retail, Airbnb, sharing economy. Everything is shared. I can buy a chair as a service, and at a certain moment, the bell will ring, they will drop off a new chair, because based on the connected devices, they know where my husband sits, where my kids sit, where the youngest is jumping, and at a certain moment, I will have a new chair, because I pay sitting as a service. Philips is not a lighting company anymore. Philips sells light as a service. And all sectors will have to evolve. Can you imagine that a house will create more energy than it will use in 2030? We are 2016. What is the utility, the energy sector doing? Making more energy, making more energy. What will happen the day that a consumer says, I have too much energy, do you want to buy it from me? You will say yes. At a certain moment in a collaborative world, you will get in contact. And what will the energy business model look like? And then everybody will start complaining. So if we really want to think about the future, then we need to think on how the digital world looks like and what kind of an opportunity gives it. And it goes even into education. Even there. Digital integration in the education system. Hurrah! We're very successful. We still, in university, teach exactly the same thing like we did 20 years ago. Not bad, although we have to know that firstly, the young kids, we have them to learn to live in an online world. We learn to live them how to live in an offline world. You are not allowed to go with strange people, but they don't learn anything on how to live in an online world. And then we are surprised that we have bullying and whatever crisis kids can have on the internet. It's not what the European Parliament suggests. I'm not capable of saying to my 5 kids, you are not allowed to go on the digital world. For those who have kids, if you say you're not allowed, what will they do? They will go on it. So it's not a question of forbidding them, it's a question on how should they behave in that world. 65% of the jobs which exist today will not exist anymore in 2020. So 65% of the people here in the room, their job will have changed. Before everybody starts panicking, I didn't say that we will have 65% less jobs. I only said that 65% of the jobs will change. Also for the people in the room. So learning is a question from the rest of your life. We will have a life where we learn, where we work, where we learn, where we enjoy, where we learn, where we work. Learning is not something you're born, you go to primary school, secondary school, high school, university, and then I start working. We will have to retrain ourselves constantly in order to be part of the good side of the digital world. So we need new skills. We need new assets. We need people who are capable to managing all those data. We need people who are capable to think in a creative way about new business model. We need people who are daring to be disruptive. Think cross-sector. See the competition arriving before the arriving is. Be the challenger. But obviously it's not all blue sky. I do realize that. But again, the digital integration in Sweden started 20 years ago. Do they still discuss about privacy? They discuss about what is the ethical charter, which everybody has to subscribe on how to behave with data. The data will be shared. The question is only, what is the behavior and how we will treat that data? It has also an opportunity for all those people who have security experience. We need people who have competences on how to manage in a fully online world. We cannot make a good and a bad internet. Nobody will go on the good internet. So we will have to accept that the world is a world of digital connectivity and that risks are there. And like always with risk, we have to manage them. Because we are responsible for our kids in order to create that ethical culture. It's not the politicians, it's not the education, it's not God, it's ourselves. We have responsibility in order to work on that, because they are the future of tomorrow. Now, to close off, it's not an easy thing. It's not something which is clear. I do not have a glass ball saying what are then the new jobs of tomorrow. The only thing I can say is this doesn't help. And that's what a lot of people try to do. But this doesn't help. We can't say that the digital world is everywhere except in, let's say, Belgium, to have it politically correct. We need to wake up. We need to accept that we will have constant change. But there are two things you can do with change. You can be scared and push it away, or you can embrace change and manage it for the future. Now we need not only techies. We need people who are intelligent, who are inspiring, who are creative, who can think out of the box, who can do project management, who can bring it to the market, who can work in a collaborative world, and let that be, by accident, a lot of the female skills. So for the women in the room, welcome in this crazy world. I think you will have a great job, a great future, with competences we certainly need in order to manage this change. For the men in the room, I'm still convinced that the network society is a world where we can make a success for tomorrow. The only thing is, we need to start today. So, good luck.